for today's Wednesday Wisdom. I want to talk to you about the importance of branding, about putting yourself out there in the marketplace outside of your friends and family. I want to talk about how you can overcome both self-sabotage and the sabotage of others if that happens to you, and why you always need to be open and receptive to new opportunities. This kind of hits home for me in so many different ways. I'm going to touch on all of them in today's video. But the catalyst for today's video came from me watching my favorite channel, the History Channel, and one of my favorite shows, The Food That Built America. And it was talking about how Kellogg's and Post got started. Unless you've been living under a rock and you never go to the grocery store, if you go down the cereal aisle, you are going to see two of the biggest juggernauts in the cereal game. They are Post and Kellogg's, and they got their start in the most nondescript ways that you would never believe that from those humble beginnings, they are the power players. They are in the breakfast aisle for cereal today. And there's so much more to their story than just cereal. And I love how the History Channel, The Food That Built America, breaks all these stories down. I remember they talked about KFC and how he was a murderer. Yeah, Colonel Sanders was a murderer at one point. How Wendy's, the Dave Thomas, I think, the founder of Wendy's, actually used to work for KFC, and they cheated him out of $2 million, so he quit and formed Wendy's. But this story about Kellogg's and Post definitely touched home for me in a lot of ways, because the biggest part of the Kellogg story is about family, and how family is probably going to be the last people to support you on your business endeavors. Now, before we get into it, I am Cecelia Faye Morris, also known as the Digital Marketing Maven, and I teach business owners how to build their brand and business online, i.e. make money, using AI, automation, and Facebook. And wherever you're watching me, give me some likes, some love, drop a comment, share this with someone who can benefit from this information. And if it's YouTube, please subscribe and click that bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. So let's start with the story of Kellogg. Kellogg was a family, and they had two sons. They might have had more than two, but they talked about their two sons. So they had two sons. One son, they poured a lot of money into him in terms of his education. I guess he was supposed to be their cash cow. And the other son, not so much. For whatever reason, they didn't see much in him to invest in him the same way they did their oldest son. Well, the oldest son, with all his education accolades, he started a mental institution that also served as a health and wellness facility. And his brother worked there. His brother cleaned floors, cleaned the bed, or changed bedpans, or whatever he had to do in that facility. And it talked in the show about how much he just hated being treated like a slave by his brother, but he had no other choice, right? It was the family business, and that's where he was, and he didn't think he had any skills to go anywhere else. Well, part of the story of Kellogg's is how Post got its start. The founder of Post had some mental issues as well as some health issues. So he ended up going to the Kellogg Health and Wellness Mental Facility. And while he was there, one of the foods that they served him helped him with some intestinal issues that he was dealing with. So when he got better, he took that food that they were serving him at that facility, and there he started Post. He found an opportunity in an unlikely environment to turn something into a business for himself that paid his family for generations. Still paying to this day unless they sold out to someone else. And if they did sell out, I'm sure they got a pretty penny for whatever merger they did to let Post get absorbed into some corporate umbrella. But it all started because he was in a mental institution dealing with mental and health issues, and he saw an opportunity to create a product that the people wanted, and he was off to the races. But then there's the little brother who was treated like a bald-headed stepchild by his older brother. There was something that happened with the food one day. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like too wet, something like it was too wet. And so they had to run it through whatever drying system they had at the time. And when they ran through that system, it came out in like some granola bits type little things, right? And so they put it in a bowl and it became cereal. Well, the patients in the facility loved it. And the younger brother was like, we need to take this to market. Like, we need to do something with this. And the older brother, with all his knowledge and accolades and education, was like, boy, bye, go sit somewhere. Ain't nobody listening to you. What do you know about starting a business or whatever? So it never went anywhere, but the little brother always had that fire inside of him. So when the mental/health facility burned down, He decided this was his chance to step out and do what he wanted to do for himself instead of living in the shadow of his brother. What did he do? He had his brother sign an agreement that he could make that little granola cereal and his brother could not touch him or get any royalties or anything from it. Because his brother was so distraught that his facility was no more, he signed the agreement and the little brother went off and he started Kellogg. Well, eventually, the older Kellogg brother did get another facility, but it wasn't the same as it was before. And then he saw the massive success that his little brother was having, and he decided, I'm going to do some cereal too, and I'm going to call it Kellogg. Well, because little brother was smarter than people gave him credit for, he used that agreement that his older brother signed and was like, no, 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 you can't do that. He actually took his brother to court to protect the brand. So that's why branding is so important. You got to protect your brand. And he sued and said, not only can you not use the Kellogg name, but you can't make cereal either. How amazing is that? Now, the moral of that story is one, protect the brand. Two, your family will be your biggest detractors until they see you making money, and then they'll be your biggest cheerleaders, like, oh, I always knew you was gonna make it, when they always ask how that little business doing. Yeah, but the brand is the most important thing because if his brother had been allowed to sell a substandard cereal under the Kellogg brand, it would have ruined what the little brother had built. So he was like, I don't care that we family, you're not gonna mess up my bag, okay? Excuse me. So that was really interesting as part of the story. But it doesn't stop there. So the little brother, he won the lawsuit against his big brother. He gets to use Kellogg, he gets to sell his cereal. And then there was a fire at his manufacturing facility. Excuse me, sorry, these sinuses are driving me crazy because this weather can't decide is it still winter or are we in spring? So yeah, so his facility, the manufacturing equipment burnt down. So he went back to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer said, "Oh, I really want to help you, but I can't because Post made me sign an agreement that we would not make this equipment for any new customers. Any new customers. Remember that, right? So, first of all, why is Post? I guess the world was different back then. I mean, could you imagine Apple making a manufacturer sign an agreement saying that they can't use the cell phone technology and anything else but Apple? We would all only have Apple phones. Like, yeah, that would never work nowadays. But it worked back then because that manufacturer who made this specialized equipment for making cereal told Kellogg, sorry, I really want to help you, but I can't because if I do, Post is going to sue the pants off of me. But there was a loophole in that contract. And this is why you need to pay attention because sabotage is out there everywhere. I've had people sign up for my programs only to steal the courses inside my program and then brand them as their own. I've had people, and I don't mind if you have an idea and you want to use me as a blueprint, just don't blatantly steal my shit, right? And then call it your own. I am always looking at other people's ideas and thinking, how can I take this and turn it to my own? Because it says in First Ecclesiastes, I'm sorry, there is no First Ecclesiastes. In Ecclesiastes 1:9, there is nothing new under the sun. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. But you got to make it your own. Again, don't it's okay to be a copycat. Just copy the right cat and then make it your own. But more importantly, he was like, nope, you can't make this equipment for anybody else. Post said no new customers. So Kellogg, being the smart and shrewd businessman that he was, he found that clause, no new customers. And he was like, well, I'm not new customers. I've been with you for whatever years. And the guy was like, yes, you're right. I can make that equipment for you. So what is the moral of that story? The moral of that story is always, always see the forest for the trees. Do not have tunnel vision. Just because you hear no doesn't mean no. It can mean not right now. It can mean not yet. Don't take what you initially see and take that as the thing that is. That's why it says faith comes from hearing and hearing from the word of God. We find faith from hearing, not by seeing. So if he'd have went by what the guy told him what was in that contract without finding that no new customers loophole, we might not even have a Kellogg's today. But more importantly, because the economy was so cutthroat back then, that's why Post put that clause in there thinking they would stop somebody from making cereal. So now we got Post, we got Kellogg's, we got General Mills, and then we got those no-name brands that are out there as well. Like how many people make cereal nowadays? Just go down the cereal aisle. Same thing applies to bread and just about everything else you can find in the marketplace. But more importantly, you've got to be able to see the forest for the trees. You need to look between the lines to find a way to carve a niche for yourself in this marketplace. I personally believe that there is enough room at the table for us all to have a seat and to eat good. So I don't believe I'm in competition with anybody except myself to be a better person tomorrow than I was today. And Kellogg felt the same way. And that's why Kellogg and Post are the two biggest players in the cereal game all these decades later. Because again, one, they saw an opportunity and they went for it. I heard a saying somewhere that says most people miss out on opportunities because it looks too much like work. Well, let me tell you about some work. You know, Sam Walton started with one little Walmart store in Arkansas. And now look what Walmart is today. When Sam Walton died, he was the richest man, maybe him and Bill Gates. We'll say Bill Gates and him are one and two or two and one, whatever. When Sam Walton passed away, his heirs became numbers two, three, four, five, six, or one, two, three, four, five. I don't know which, but basically, his passing left a legacy for his entire family that still lives on to this day. But it started with one store. So, what are you going to start with? What opportunity have you passed over because it looked like work, right? And then, family, what are you doing to put yourself out there in the marketplace to find the people that actually want to do business with you? Because if you're still relying on friends and family, your warm market, and the people that are on your Facebook and Instagram page and watching your TikTok videos to take your business to the next level, whether it's four, five, or six figures and beyond, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, but I have to break it down because you need to hear the truth. It's not going to happen. You have got to find the people who want to do business with you. And the way you do that is through your marketing. That's why I'm the digital marketing maven, because I use automation, AI, and Facebook to find the people who want to do business with me. That's why I made $17,000 in 4 months from a product that I created with my ingenuity because I found an opportunity and I capitalized on it. And you have to do the same thing. But more importantly, you got to put yourself out there in a way that lets people know who you are, what you do, and who you serve. And that's not going to happen if you still relying on the post and pray method. You've got to back that train up and put some money where your mouth is. Speaking of putting your money where your mouth is, let's go back to Post again. So I told you about Kellogg and how he overcame his brother, how he protected the brand, and how he was able to get his company back up and running because he found a loophole in that Post contract. Well, Mr. Post, even though he left the Kellogg mental facility, he was still kind of wonky like or whatever. And because of that, he had a lot of paranoia and some other issues. Anyway, he died and he left his company to his daughter. Well, in that day and age, a woman owning a major company like Post was totally unheard of. But let me tell you what a badass she was. She found a company that was working on something that was going to freeze food, like TV dinners, right? She found a company that would freeze food so you could put it in your freezer and then pop it in the oven. This was pre-microwave, right? And she purchased that company. She purchased that company for so much money. This is the Post daughter. She purchased that company for so much money that she actually had to go in front of Congress and explain why she paid so much money for this little rinky-dink company that didn't really have a product. And you know what she told him? I wasn't paying for the product, I was paying for the technology. And she was the forefront and the pioneer woman, who brought TV dinners to the world because she had the technology on how to flash freeze food to make it keep longer in the freezer and take it out when we want it. And this was pre-microwave, and the rest is history. So I hope you found this story about the Kellogg brothers and Post and self-sabotage and stop depending on your family and finding opportunities out there because they're everywhere. I hope you found this very interesting, like I did when I thought about what all this means for me and my business. Because people may be like, well, you are the digital marketing maven, but now you're doing software and you're doing mobile apps. How am I telling people about it? Marketing, because nobody's going to knock on my door and say, hey, I heard you got this SaaS. Tell me about it. Or, hey, I heard you got this mobile app. What does it do? No, I got to put myself out there. So if you want some help putting yourself out there, I invite you to join my Magic Marketing Masterclass. Magic Marketing stands for Mastering AI Genius in Content Marketing. This is where we'll help you come up with your idea, come up with your branding, as well as put your idea in front of the people who want to do business with you in a way that's genuine and authentic so they see you as the savior to the solution to their problems. So if magic marketing sounds like something that's interesting to you because you've got something that you know can benefit a large number of people if they just knew that you had the solution, go ahead and click somewhere around this video so you can join my Magic Marketing Masterclass so you can start mastering AI genius in content marketing. You can start seizing opportunities. You're not relying on your friends and family to help your business grow. You will be able to overcome both self-sabotage and the sabotage that's out here in these internet streets. And most importantly, you can build something that you can be proud of and leave a legacy for your family, like Post and Kellogg and Mr. Walmart did for theirs. Thank you for watching today's video. I am Cecelia Faye Morris, the Digital Marketing Maven, here to help you make money using automation, AI, and Facebook. And wherever you're watching, give me some likes, some love, drop a comment, share this video with someone who needs to see it. And if it's YouTube, please subscribe and click that bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.